always believed my future was secure. Ever since I was 12, my parents would say the same reassuring words whenever I worried about money or college. "Don't stress, Ian. Your college fund is safe. Just focus on your studies." And I did. I focused with everything I had. While other kids spent weekends at the mall or on gaming consoles, I spent mine tutoring younger students, reading old engineering books, and watching online lectures on airplanes and rockets. I dreamed of studying aerospace engineering, not because it was easy, but because it made my heart beat in a way nothing else did. That Tuesday evening began like any other. I came home early after finishing a tutoring session. The moment I stepped inside, something felt off. My parents were sitting together in the living room, not talking, just staring at the floor. The tension in the air was thick enough to touch. My sister, Zara, stood near the window, wiping her eyes discreetly. I paused at the doorway. "Is everything okay?" My mother looked up with a face that said everything was definitely not okay. "Ian, sit down, we need to talk." My heart started beating harder. I sat across from them, waiting for someone to speak. My father avoided my gaze completely. Zara looked guilty for a reason I couldn't yet understand. My mother finally exhaled and clasped her hands together. "Beta, something happened, and before you hear it from anyone, we want to tell you ourselves. Every second felt longer than the last. We used your college fund," she said quietly. The floor beneath me stopped existing. My ears rang. I blinked at her, thinking maybe I misheard. "What?" She swallowed hard. "We used your entire college savings." A lump rose in my throat. "For what?" I whispered. Zara covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. My father's shoulders slumped. "For Zara's IVF treatment," and my mother said, her voice breaking. She needed help to conceive. This was our only choice. My world stopped. My dreams, years of hard work, sacrifice, and hope had been traded away without even asking me. The betrayal didn't shout, it whispered, quietly killing something inside me. Zara stepped forward. "Ian, I didn't want this. I swear I didn't know until..." I raised my hand. She stopped talking immediately. My heart was cracking, but my voice was calm. Too calm. I looked at all three of them, feeling something inside me shut down, like a door quietly closing forever. And then I said one word, the only word I could manage: "Okay." In that moment, their faces showed it clearly. They knew this wasn't forgiveness. This was the beginning of distance they never expected. That night, sleep felt like a luxury I no longer owned. I lay on my bed staring at the cracked ceiling, listening to the faint hum of the streetlights outside. Every memory, every sacrifice I had made played in my mind like an old film with torn edges. I remembered being 7, watching Zara lying weak in the hospital bed after her surgery. My parents stood beside her, crying softly. I had held her hand and promised, "I'll always take care of you." Even then I understood that my family revolved around Zara. She wasn't spoiled, just fragile. And because she was fragile, I learned to be strong. When I was 13, I wanted to join the robotics club. I still remember the excitement in my chest as I ran home with the permission slip. My father didn't even look up from his newspaper when he said, "Not now, Ian. Zara's meds cost too much. Maybe next year." There was no next year. At 16, I asked for a laptop, nothing fancy, just something to code on. My mother gave me a tired smile and said, "Later, Beta, we're saving for something important." I thought I was that important thing. I thought wrong. The betrayal didn't just hurt because they spent the money. It hurt because they decided without me. They didn't hesitate. They didn't discuss it. They didn't trust me enough to include me in a decision about my own future. I felt like a guest in my own life. Around midnight, I got up and quietly pulled out my old duffel bag. The zipper sounded louder than thunder in the silent house. I started packing, a few shirts, a pair of jeans, my notebooks, and the broken laptop I had bought second hand. I didn't take much. I didn't have much. A small knock came at my door. "Ian, please open." Zara whispered, her voice trembling. I hesitated but unlocked the door. She stood there with red eyes and shaking hands. "Ian, I didn't want any of this," she cried, gripping my sleeve. "I told them not to use your fund. I begged them. They were desperate." Her pain was real, and I couldn't hate her. "But the wound inside me wasn't hers to heal. I know, Zara," I said softly. "Then don't go," she begged. Please, we're family. I swallowed hard. Family doesn't make decisions that destroy your future without asking, I replied. She broke into sobs, and for a moment I almost stayed. Almost, but something in me had already shifted. I gently moved her hands away. I need space, I whispered. As I walked out of my room, I passed my parents' door. I heard my mother crying, my father's voice trembling, but I kept moving, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but because sometimes staying hurts more than leaving. And I had finally learned that lesson. The room I rented wasn't much. Just 4 faded walls, a single window, and a hard mattress that squeaked every time I breathed. The bulb flickered so often it felt like it had a heartbeat of its own. But for the first time in my life, the space around me was something I chose. Something that belonged to me and no one else. The first few days felt like drowning. I had left home with barely enough money to last a week. My savings, what little I had from tutoring, went into rent and cheap groceries. I ate instant noodles until even the smell of the packet made my stomach twist. But pain has a strange way of sharpening your purpose. I found a job at a warehouse, sorting packages from midnight to 5 a.m. After sleeping a few hours, I went to college and sat through lectures half awake. In the evenings, I tutored kids whose parents paid me just enough to get by. On weekends, I took online freelance work, editing reports, solving math assignments for strangers, anything that brought in a few extra rupees. The exhaustion was bone deep, but my resolve was deeper. My parents called every day at first. I didn't block them, but I didn't pick up either. My silence became its own language, one they struggled to understand. Zara was the only one who visited. She came one afternoon with a lunchbox and swollen eyes. "Ayan, can we talk?" she whispered, standing awkwardly by the door. I led her inside. She looked around the tiny room, heartbreak spreading across her face. "You're living like this because of me," she said. I shook my head, "Not because of you, because of their choice." She sat on the edge of my bed, wiping her tears. "The IVF worked. I'm pregnant. You should have been one of the first to know." I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Congratulations." She noticed the emptiness in my voice and sobbed quietly. "I want you to be part of their lives, Ayan. Please don't punish me for something I didn't choose." I didn't respond. Not because I didn't care, but because caring was a luxury I couldn't afford yet. Months passed like this, hard, quiet, unforgiving. But slowly, things began to change. I applied for every scholarship I could find, rewriting essays until sunrise. I attended competitions, workshops, anything free that helped me grow. I pushed myself so hard that even I didn't recognize the person I was becoming. Then one morning an email appeared on my cracked screen. "Congratulations. You have been awarded a full international scholarship." My hands shook. Tears blurred the words. After everything, every betrayal, every sleepless night I had won, my revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't cruel, it was silent. I became someone they could no longer break, someone they no longer had the power to control. Someone who rose not despite the betrayal, but because of it. 5 years passed like shifting seasons, quiet, slow, and unforgiving. I left home as a boy with broken dreams, but I returned as a man who had built his life piece by piece. Not with their money, not with their support, just with my own stubborn will. When I stepped out of the taxi in front of my old house, nothing looked the same. The paint was peeling, the garden was wild, and the house seemed smaller than I remembered. Or maybe I had simply grown larger, outgrowing its walls long before I physically left them. Zara opened the door before I could knock. Her face lit up with a mixture of joy and relief. "Ayan," she cried, hugging me so tightly it almost hurt. 2 little children peeked from behind her legs, twins, a boy and a girl. The children she had once cried for, prayed for, fought for. The children who became the reason my world collapsed and the reason I rebuilt it. Inside, my parents sat on the sofa, their faces lined with years of worry and regret. My mother covered her mouth as tears rushed to her eyes. My father looked like he wanted to stand, but didn't know if he had the right. "You came," my mother whispered. I nodded. "It's been a long time. We exchanged small talk at first, awkward, polite, the kind of conversations strangers have. But beneath every word, a heavy truth waited to surface. It didn't take long. My father exhaled slowly. Ian, we've been struggling. The business declined, expenses grew. We thought maybe you could help us a little. My mother quickly added, not much, Beta. Just until we stabilize. You're earning well now. We're proud of you. Proud? That word hit me harder than the betrayal ever had. I set my cup of tea down carefully. The twins giggled softly in the background, Zara watching me with eyes that understood more than she said. Ian, my father continued gently, we're not asking as parents who wronged you. We're asking as family. Family. Another word that lost its meaning years ago. I looked at them. Not with anger, not with bitterness. I had emptied those emotions long ago. All that remained was clarity, and I said the same word I had said the night my world fell apart. No, soft, clear, final. My mother's lips trembled. My father's shoulders dropped. Zara looked down, accepting the truth she had known would come. I don't wish you harm, I said quietly, but I built my life alone, and I will live it alone. Some distances don't come from hate, they come from self-respect. I stood, gave Zara's children a small smile, and walked toward the door. This time, I wasn't leaving broken. I was leaving whole, and behind me, the echo of that single word lingered. Not revenge, not punishment, just freedom,